This podcast is for singers who have music in their soul and want to be in the spotlight. We are INVICTA Vox Radio.
All right, hey everybody, welcome to the first ever episode of INVICTA Vox Radio. We're finally bringing this to you guys. We've been talking about this for a while now, but in this first episode, your hosts, Mike and
Angie Lee.
We're going to be talking about what this podcast is all about and a little bit about our background and why we feel like we needed to bring this to you.
Absolutely.
So if we want to just give a quick introduction about ourselves, why don't you just kind of run through just real fast, Angie, why don't you just talk about what your background is in music and your journey?
Well, I am a true blue artist, and I have been since the time I was a really little kid. And I was the kid who decided at about age 5 or 6 that I wanted to be a professional singer. And so you see a lot of kids do that. And for me, though, it was something that I had a singular focus on my whole life. And so everything I did was leading up to having a professional career as a musician and as a singer. I wrote my first song when I was 7 for a reflections competition at school, and from there it's history. You know, I did everything I could get involved in growing up to be an artist at every level. So I did a lot of musical theater, you know, because that's so readily available in high school, and especially in high school, and especially here in the state of Utah, there's a lot of really great community theater opportunities. I was writing songwriting that whole time as well. And I had an opportunity to work with lots of really great songwriters that mentored me through that process. Started recording professionally at age 15. And back then that was a really different thing than it is now, because people didn't have, you know, studios in their houses the way they do now. You know, all you need now is a Mac computer and a couple little plugins and you're good to go. Back then, you actually had to go to real recording studios, so that was something I started at age 15 very seriously. I started recording my singles, and amidst doing all the musical theater and the dancing and everything else, I ended up going to college with a music scholarship to Westminster College in Salt Lake City. I almost did musical theater. I really thought about pursuing the whole Broadway thing for a while. But after high school, I got a little burned out with theater and turned all my focus back into my songwriting and being myself on stage again. And in college, got very serious about recording my first album, did like a little mini tour with that, and that was super cool when I was 18. I did that, almost 19. And then after graduating college, I got a business management degree. I was also coaching that whole time. I started teaching when I was 16, mentoring in a studio, and so had a really great mentor out the gate. And so I was teaching that whole time too. So when I graduated college, I got a business management degree, a music minor, and we were newly married, and we decided to open our first big studio. And I'd already been teaching for 6 years, and that was the birth of Standout Studios. So it's funny because then, you know, there was a parallel thing happening with my teaching career simultaneously and with my performing career and writing career. And so after graduation from college, we opened our first studio, so that was happening for teaching. And then I also dove into my own music and started getting professional gigs in recording for Disney, Konami, did a lot of voiceover work, and was also writing at a very high level, put together my first real band. I say that lovingly, because I had some bands in high school. First band. And then we ended up, you know, signing a record deal and doing a lot of really cool stuff with that. Played at Warped Tour in 2009. Did a lot of cool performing opportunities, a lot of writing, a lot of really cool things with band. And so that led us up to me having babies at age 30 and kind of putting a pause on my own career as far as performing goes. But the teaching has never stopped. I'm coming up on 21 years of coaching this summer, coaching experience. And along the way, we've developed a lot of incredible tools for artists, because we've seen the pitfalls of what it is to be an artist in this industry through my own career and through all of the things we had to figure out and wish that we would have had. Because ultimately, the reason INVICTA Vox exists is because we wanted to be the mentors for all the people coming up in the industry that we wish we would have had. And so that's where we are today. And I'm excited because right now I'm actually getting back into my own music again. I've got 2 babies that are old enough now that I can start doing that again. And so we're coming full circle, which is really exciting.
Right. And my role in the music world has been roadie / groupie.
/ manager / therapist.
Yeah. So I've always played the role of support and looking at the business end of things.
Mm-hmm.
And
you got a very interesting perspective on this industry too, because you were there for the whole journey, not as an artist, because you're not an artist.
right.
You're an artist of marketing and of seeing big pictures, of seeing where things need to go, of creating tools and developing systems. Like, you're that guy. So you had a very interesting, a huge perspective on watching all of this go on.
Right. And that's really been the cool thing for me, is I've just got to sit back and be able to play the role of observer, and to watch how things succeed and how things fail, kind of from an outside perspective, instead of being so emotionally attached to it. Obviously, when you were in the band and I was a part of all that, going to all the shows, helping out with merch, just really paying attention to all that, and I was invested in it, but at the same time, I wasn't in the thick of it, right?
Right, you were able to stay emotionally detached at a way better level than the artist can, because the artist is attached to everything they do.
Right. And so, really, that's why we're bringing this podcast up. That's why we're creating this podcast, is because, one, for the people who come into our studio, they normally get a lot of this anyways, right?
Right.
We have a studio where we coach people, and it starts out with voice lessons and then progresses through the whole artist journey.
We are not just a vocal studio, we're a full artist development facility.
Right.
So there's something to speak to there too. Obviously, getting your voice together is number one, but then what are all the other steps you have to take after that?
Right, and that's where you said really what this is it's trying to be the person that we wish we had along that whole journey, like a mentor that would really point out that there's so much more to being an artist, even at the basic levels, right? Like, even when you're doing your reflections.
Yeah, the little songwriting competition at age 7.
Right, or going out and being a part of these singing, dancing groups, or whatever you're doing, there's so much more to it than simply just, hey, I get out there and perform, right?
Yeah, well, there can be. For a lot of people, that's all they want to do, is just kind of have a fun little experience. But what we've noticed with our artists and where our journey took us is that we want to do so much more than that. And so it's finding all the holes and figuring out tools to help people and to make that journey easier, right? To be able to push people along faster and give them a path and help them figure that out, while also giving them all the mindsets and the support that they need to feel like they can do it. Because, I mean, how many times did I have a total breakdown when I was in the thick of my career because of how stressful it was?
Yeah, it was constant.
It was like every week, right? Yeah. And that's why I made the joke of you being my therapist, because every artist needs someone that they can talk to, but not just someone they can talk to, someone who's going to understand them. And that's also what's so cool about INVICTA Vox, is we have a whole community of artists here who are very serious about their crafts and who are at varying levels or areas of their career, whether they're just starting out or kind of going on tour right now and like doing all these really cool things, but they all understand each other, all support each other. And that's this beautiful thing about what we're trying to establish for artists, is people can come up in the industry together. They have the tools and the resources that they've been looking for. They have the support system, and ultimately they have us to help guide them through all those pitfalls and hopefully help them make it easier to guide them through that whole process. And that's what this podcast is all about. This is about bringing more of those tools and ideas and mindsets and everything to more people, and not just the artists in our studio, because we've been hashing this stuff out, our curriculum, everything, for what? Like 15 years?
Yeah, for sure.
For sure. And so it's exciting now to be taking it to a platform where we can help way more people.
Right. And even some of the people at our studio, because they're all involved at different levels, right? Like, some are just starting out, some are really far into the game with us.
Yeah.
So really this is going to be beneficial for kind of anybody along that spectrum. And even if somebody is just taking it as a hobby,
yeah,
there's still a lot to it, right?
Because, for sure.
Because even if you're just doing it for fun, right, you still want to be the best you can be within that.
Absolutely.
And if you go out as a hobby and have a bad performance, you're still going to have it's going to really turn you off to it. And so you want to have the tools and the mindsets and all that to really make it more fun, right?
Yeah.
So when you do go out and have that bad performance, or you do go out and have a good performance, either way, it's just how do we further this journey along? How do we keep it fun for those people?
Yeah.
And then also for the people who are taking it more seriously, like how do you get to that next step?
Absolutely. Yeah, we call them glorified hobbyists, not because we think you're not great, but because maybe it's not your day job and it's something that you just want to do to celebrate your art or your voice or to have fun or have an outlet or be able to communicate at a different level. We have so many people at the studio doing that. And then we have the people who want it to be their full-time career. And so absolutely I love it. Like the idea of the bad performance. I love that idea. Everybody has a performance that isn't their best. And I will probably talk about some of my biggest fails on this podcast, because why not?
Oh, we'll talk about it a lot.
All of that, right? My album launch party was one of the biggest fails of a performance I've ever had, and it was the most embarrassing moment of my life. Well, one of them. There have been a couple, but that was one of the ultimate most embarrassing moments of my life. And so I get that. And even if you're wanting to be really great at karaoke singing and you don't have the best performance and you see like your friend's video on Instagram the next day, you're like, oh crap, I got to get some voice lessons. Like, great, come on in, get some voice lessons and learn how to be a performer so you can go kill karaoke. You know, whatever that is for you. So, but know that when you come here, especially to our podcast, to our community at INVICTA Vox, there's nothing but love and support. And we're going to help you shoot holes where they need to be shot so that we can fill them up and give you the tools that you need to just be where you want to be.
Right, because we want artists to reach whatever level they want to reach.
Yeah, people who actually want to get results.
And so that's the ultimate goal is, while we're going to have a lot of fun, we're going to talk about a lot of funny things and a lot of good and bad experiences, right, and what you can learn from it. The ultimate goal is to help you get further within your craft, to help you get to the next level, whatever that may be.
Yep, results is all. It's all about results. Support, love, results. Yeah.
So with that being said, we're just going to wrap this up real quick. And so if you could try and hook people into listening to the next podcast with one kind of paragraph, with one phrase.
You're asking me?
Yeah. What would it be about?
Honestly, this is all just about, like we were just talking about, reaching your greatest potential of who you want to be, of who you want to be as an artist, as a person, as a performer, and knowing that you're not alone in that. Because even now, we have artists at the studio who don't have family who supports them, who don't have friends who understand what they're trying to do, who are actually afraid to come into the studio for their first lesson. And when I ask them what the big dream is, they are afraid to tell me that they want to have a career in music because of how people look at them outside of our studio. And I just want everyone to know that no matter who you are and no matter how audacious your dream, we value that here. And if you want to go, let's go. We're going to be there. We're going to do that. And that's what this podcast is all about. Every single episode is geared toward those dreamers who are ready to go. And if you're not ready, but you want to get ready, we're also going to pump you up.
Right.
So that's what I say. Stick around, listen to the next episode, hang with us. Let's see if we can all grow together.
And I will just add to that by saying, with you being an artist and me being a supporter of an artist.
And a lover of music.
I've spent my whole life very, very passionate about music. Mm-hmm. So you're going to get two unique perspectives each time. And we've been developing artists for 15 years now.
I've been doing it for 21.
Well, you've been doing it for 21. But
yeah.
us together, we've been working on this for 15 years. Mm-hmm. So it's those unique perspectives with a lot of experience over a lot of time. Mm-hmm. And we feel like information is meant to be given to people.
Yeah.
So we're going to give our best tips, tricks, information.
All the stuff we give our artists who are here at the studio with us.
Yeah. Anything we can help give people to help them further their career, that's what we're all about. That's our passion in life, and that's what we're going to bring here.
Yep. And this is just one of the platforms we're going to use to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, everybody, until next time, we will catch you later.
Yeah, don't forget to like, subscribe, pass along, share, and we love you guys. We're excited to take the journey with you.
Until next time, peace.